Hey folks, welcome to our channel. Hope you're doing well. We are from BMN Infotech Private Limited, a leading IT company in India. This is our 6th video of the Laravel tutorial. Be ready to learn. In this video, we'll talk about Laravel Controllers. So in this Laravel series, we saw in the previous video, what is Laravel basic blade files and blade templates, and then how to use all the files which are in the view. So now let's see what is the controller and how it's work in the Laravel. So before wasting time, let's start. Now if we talk about Laravel controls, and controls are a very important topic of Laravel. Because Laravel works on MVC pattern. Model and view as well as controls have an important function in Laravel. First of all, we will understand what is controllers. Then how to create a controller. And then how to call controllers from roots. So let's start with the controller first. Controller or class-based PHP file. In a PHP file in which we have done object-oriented programming, we have created some functions inside that class. So those functions may be private, may be public, or may be protected. Then some of its member variables are maintained in it, so in this way the file is class-based. Now this is a class-based file. It handles your request and logic in a single class. This means that if you will get user management done inside your website. So what can be user management? User management can register, login, forget password, change password, update profile. And in this way the user's card or many other things can be related to the user. Now what you have to do in that case, everyone has to make their own logic. We store this logic in a single class, then there will be such a class that users, and that class will store all the logic that we need related to the user. All the requests are there which we have to get the related hits of the users. For example, if we want to register, then we have to hit one request. If we want to log in, then we have to hit it. If we want to change password, then we have to hit a lot of requests for that. Now we have to hit that simple request, and we have to keep sum up all the logics in one place. So that is the controller. The only function of the controller is not only between the controller view and the model. View means what is visible to the user, and model means DB plays a role in between that controller. It turns on the data pass, will take the request from the view to the DB and will bring the response from the DB back to the view. So the controller works to handle your business logics, to handle your requests, and to make communication between the database and the view. So let's go ahead and see how many types of controllers Laravel provides to you. So Laravel basically provides you 3 types of controllers. Types of controllers: basic controller, single action controller, resource controller. Basic controller is such a controller in which you will not find anything pre-made. You will get just one class and nothing will be available, and everything has to be defined automatically in the basic controller according to the requirement. Then comes you have a single action controller, like I told you that we handle multiple requests using controllers. Sometimes there are chances that we have to handle even a single request. Then we take the help of single action controller. And then comes your resource controller. Resource controller CRUD operations: create, read, update and delete. Predefined functions to get all database related operations done, lets you create routes. Everything gives already made. You just have to go and implement your logics. So understand that 50% of your work has been done, all the functions have been made. How to access the data in all the functions? Everything is done because the resource controller in the resource controller is used to make CRUD operations. We will understand this further through an example. So first we go to the basic controller and see the commands to make the controller. To create a basic controller, you have to use and write the artisan command. PHP artisan make. Controller and controller name must be in camel case. So now what is the way to make it? Here I have opened the project on Sublime Text, and we will open terminal from here, and on this terminal we are going to run all the commands, and here I write PHP artisan make. Controller, this is your complete statement, then name of controller if you want to write. Where are the controllers made? Inside AAP, the file containing the controllers in the HTTP file, and here all your controllers will be created, and here you will see a default controller. It is extending the base controller, and all the things that are being implemented here are object-oriented related. That means one of your base controllers is extending this controller, and now when we will create a new controller from here with the help of PHP artisan make controller. I create a controller here and put its name as demo controller, and as soon as I hit here or press enter, see that a controller has been created here named demo controller. And this became my controller demo controller, and a class has come here and its namespace has been created by Laravel itself, and we have given app HTTP controllers, so this namespace plays a very important role. Whenever we have to invoke this controller. Now a controller named demo has come and I make a function inside it. So the functions that are there can be private, public, protected, but initially we will make public function only. So our public function will be represented by public keyword. I keep the name of public function and function index. What the demo controller is going to do. This is the file inside the resources. There is a home file inside the view. There is a file named home. Blade.php. This demo controller is going to open it. So what is the way to open it? You will hit the function with this index, and what it will do is return the view, and the view will send home blade.app to the page, i.e. the home page. We have done this in the past also. If you have seen the last videos, then we have done this thing before. We had sent the user to the home when the slash came in the roots, but we were sending it from here. Now the second point comes, that in which way we should call our controller from the root from here. That means the controller is somewhere and the roots are somewhere else. Have to call. So now let me explain to you the way. See, there is a controller named demo. This is its namespace. You have to go to the root here and right at the top. Use means what are you doing? You are using that namespace app, HTTP controllers demo controller. You have to write this, and you do not have to put the PHP, that Laravel knows that these are all PHP files. So this is your app and HTTP controllers and demo controllers. Then will you remove all these roots from here? And now here I write root get when slash is found in URL, then we have to call demo controller, then demo controller class, and then that write the name of the function whose name is index. It's so simple. I said as soon as slash is found in root, then invoke class with demo controller and call function named root in it. See, this is the function named index. It has to be called the function. Now this is your web.php routing page. He has understood where to go. This is the first way to implement this thing, and now we will come to the second way. Before that we will create another function, and we come to the terminal, and right here what will PHP artisan serve do by running it on a port will give you. So see here your website is loaded. Do not close this terminal. This development server has been started, and if you want to run our other commands, then we can open a new terminal, and whatever commands are there, they run here. Keep doing it. So see, this is your home page which we had made first. If you have not seen the last video, then I can take you to the resource page and show it to the resource file. See, this is my home page which I have, you can see here, I have written home here. 0. So in the slash I send it to the home page, and now I take a root from here and write may about in the get here slash. So what to do when user put about in slash? Then in that case we have to call demo controller. I create another function in demo controller. So we make this function public too, and by default it becomes public, and here you put a function named about for about page and are returning from here on view and page with view as about, and now we have this. If you want to hit the function, then guys, one way we have understood is to hit the function, and the other way you can also hit from here by writing the whole namespace, but if you want to do it again and again to a controller, then this is a good approach. It is not that you write the full name again and again. Look here, I am writing the full name controllers/demo controller and write the class name by putting a colon here. What does it mean to go here? We have to go to HTTP controllers and then write about demo controller and class name. So now it will call about, but actually I am telling you two ways. One is simple what you did in that. First you have used it, you have called the namespace here, then you can invoke it with its help. The second method which has come in Laravel 8, but before 8 there were methods which they were in this way, I will tell you once by writing here. Because if any mythological project comes in front of you, then how will you handle it? In that case all you have to do is the demo controller about, then what it does from the demo controller directly takes you to the about page. So see how it used to work in Laravel 7, that too I can explain to you, because maybe sometimes we have to update the old projects. So see, in Laravel 7 all you have to do is to put only at. So demo controller at about. This whole thing is of Laravel 7, but in Laravel 8 there is a different route to reach the view because Laravel 8 has made it more secure and making it a little bit organized. Laravel has given you a restriction that when you don't give full namespace here until then you can't get to that controller. Let's come here now and let's talk about and we put about in the slash and see our about page is showing. And now we talk about single action controller. So in single action controller we have to write the same whole line BS has to be written here invocable. So let's see by running this command, we will write php artisan make controller and here we will write single action controller and put double dash and write invocable and as soon as press enter. See invocable has become a controller here and in single action controller you will see a function already created _invoke. This function is created for single action. Everything in this controller is the same. Just when we call it from the root, it will invoke only one function and to invoke it as soon as the user enters the course's URL. Then here it will invoke the single action controller. Single action class. See here you do not have to create any array. You have to take care of this thing because we create array when user goes to any particular function because here there is only one function which is invoke which is to be invoked on the calling of this URL and I refreshed by adding courses here again. So see if you have come to this page, then this is the page of your courses. This is the page of your courses. We write hello and refer to it, then the single action controller is invoking a particular function. And like all the other controllers, the basic controller can have multiple functions. Now there are no restrictions in it, you cannot create any function with you. If you want, create another function in it, call it in the same way, but then it will not remain a single action controller, then it will become a multiple action controller. Laravel gives you this second type of controller which is single type controller. The third controller is the resource controller. The most important thing is that when you are working on a large website, the resource controller allows you to create many routes and functions. So now we will see how the routes are given and here we create the resource route. And here I go to the controller and see the soup pose like we have to manage a photo here. The example I have taken is also related to this thing. We make a website where we will upload photos. So here I make a photo controller and we are going to invoke this photo controller. So it has become a photo controller and here the resources are going to be written in double dash. So as you press enter, see here a resource controller has become named photo controller. From and as soon as I open it and I can see the difference of all the three controllers. So the first is a single controller in which we have created nothing. Then comes the single action controller in which we have got the function named invoke. And third comes the resource controller in which we have got many things like index data to display. Create. To show the page of create. Store to store data. To represent show data. If you want to edit page, then for edit. If you want to update, there is an update function or if you want to delete, then there is a function named destroy. Then all these functions it is giving you to be made. All these functions work for CRUD operations. CRUD operation means create, read, update, and delete. So resource controller not only lets you create functions, it lets you create routes as well. That means now if you put a photo in the slash in the URL, it directly takes you to that function and you have to come here and tell you more on the web. Is that this resource is the root, then the root : resource, then you have to write here the photo and above we call the controller and here now you have to give the name of the controller and you don't need to tell anything like URL and all those things understood our Laravel because we said here resource. It means which of these routes will come if only photo comes in / then have to call indexed function and use get method. If photo create comes then create function. If the data comes from the post method, then it has to be stored in the /photo. In this way all the methods have been made to show the data, to edit, to apply photos, or to delete. So for everyone, one routes resource controller gives one for everyone. So let's put the resource photo here and let's refer to the browser. See, this page is opened. Now what our controller does is invoke the index function here, with the help of get method. If I show you here by getting the index done in echo, then it is coming to the index function. If I come to the / and write create in the root, then it is coming to the create function. See, the create show is happening here. You can test any number of gate methods available. Like this photo, if you put some data in it then it will come on show. I see you echo id from here because whatever it is, it will come from it, and if I come here in photo and write 5 in it then see this id show. This is happening means our show function is running, then resource controller is automatically managing. You don't need to think that I have to create URL how to make it, just you have to mention this thing here, a resource controller. You can't change the name of any function in the resource controller. You have to take care of this very well because there is an understanding between the resource controller and the resource root that whenever this URL is hit, this function may, if you change, then that function will not be able to call. Then you have to take care of all these things, and with the help of resource controller, you can make any application very quickly. We will divide this video into a few steps, like first we will create a form, then hit that form on a particular route, and then we will see what data is sent on that route. So let's first come here to create the form and create a form inside our view folder in resources. So some files have to be made. Let's keep them here, and here I make a form. Blade.php. So in Blade template we have to work, then here I can put a template of Bootstrap. Now let's create a form here. We will create a very simple form in which we will ask the user for registration, and here I am putting a class on it, Text Center. All these classes are Bootstrap, and here we create the form do. Here we will keep 3 fields: name, email, password, and the text which is seeing this below muted. We will comment this because we are going to use this further and show error. Currently I am taking only 3 fields because we are now understanding basically how to submit the form. Above all, it is necessary to give names to all. You should take care of this thing well. That means it is necessary to give value to everyone in the attribute named, so that you can delete the data. So that's it: name, email, and password, and at the end we come and create here button which will submit the form. So I take a button and put a class in it, btn primary, and write here submit. Then it becomes a simple form for you. Now how will this form be hit? So to hit this form, actually we have to take a form tag here, otherwise all these inputs will not work unless this form tag is installed. Then this form tag has arrived and we will hit this form using method post. So our form is ready. Also we need controller, so may I make a controller PHP artisan make controller registration controller, we name it. So this is our basic controller. So see, this became my registration controller. On this I will put a function, public function, and from that I will hit our index page, i.e. hit the page containing the form. This is done function index, and as soon as it is hit on it then we return view or view on form page to the user from here. Then we will directly send it to the home page. Now look here, you have to mention this thing. Then you have to go to the top of the app and use the namespace of registration here. Then we will come to the root, and as soon as we get the register and get, then we will send it to the registration controller. If the colon is the colon class and the function will be index on it, then as soon as we get the register in the URL, then we will show it directly by opening this form. So let's see here, you have to write PHP artisan serve to serve the project so that it will start you deployment server and see if this project has started. Then here you will see the form open when we will put /register here. So as you entered the register, you see the form open. This is your form. For registration, you have to fill the details here and click on submit. And I also open a new terminal and at the same time come here in the registration controller, and here I can create another function, and with this function we are going to store the data of the form, or else we suppose we are going to register, and here we will see the data that the user has sent. Now we are not going to store because we have not done the work of the database, so we are going to see the data here simply. So we will create another route here, and this time the route will be post route because at any time we cannot send this type of data containing username and password from get. So there will be post route. In this also we can write post. See here a very important thing like register of get will run. Then this one will be called. If there is register of post, then this will be the call in which we will get it redirected to some other function on our register function. So don't get confused here that both the URLs are registered. See, there is a get method and a post method. Then the get method will do its separate work and the post method will do its different work. Now we will go to the form page, and in the form you can see what we have to do in action. In action we have to give the particular path of this route. Then for that you will write echo URL. URL is a function which provides you Laravel, which removes the base URL, which removes the base URL of your app and writes it here in a slash, we register. So it will extract you your URL. Where is the base URL? Then there is a file with env which is your base URL in it, and on this we are going to call the slash register. So let's refresh the browser and inspect the code to see what the URL has come here so that we know. So let's fill the form data here. I write here name BMN Infotech, email info@bminfotech.com, and password I put 123 and click submit. Then as soon as click submit you show an error here, 419 page expired. This error comes guys because of post any form hit by the method can't go without CSRF token. CSRF token Laravel internally manage, you just have to write at CSRF. When you write CSRF back and refer, you will see that Laravel put a CSRF token in the page is. Now see that there is a CSRF token hidden in the input underscore token. Now when this token matches, only then Laravel lets you hit the form. I fill in the details of the form again and click on submit. It will take you to the same route. So how do you get the data from here? You have to write request and $request. So this is a class named request. From that we are creating a variable named $request. This variable named $request can be $req, $res can be anything. But this is the class named request. You have to remember that this class should be fixed. Nothing wrong should happen. We will write here print underscore r $request because it gives me error, so write this, then print this array in this way, and in this you have to use all function request and arrow operator, then all, so that whatever request I have got the data. Let me see it here. It can be seen that token has arrived, name has come, email has arrived, password has come. If I want to show it a little better, then I use pre-tag here, and now I refresh. Then see the data is coming to us in this way. So let's go to the register once again and fill the data from here and submit it. Then see such data is being shown. There is a simple concept. First of all you have to create a form. You have to create a route to come to that form, and with the help of controller from that route you have to come to this form. Then you have to hit the URL which is inside the action. That will again take you to a function which will be of a class, and there you will see the data of the form in this way. When we understand the database connection and how the function is stored in the database, then we will understand how it is used. Now we will understand how form validation is implemented through Laravel. Whenever a form is filled, it is very important that both the client site and the server site must have site validation. What is client site validation now? Whenever you create a form, you make a particular input of the email type. Or you seem to be required in some particular input. All these things are called client-side validation JS. But the way to pass client-side validation is very easy, but the way to bypass server-side validation is not that easy. So we will do server-side validation through Laravel. I will do the same form which was there now. So let me explain to you the flow. We are coming from this web.php on this register page. As soon as I get the slash register in the URL and get it from the get method, then I send it to the index function from the register controller. And this form gets opened. As soon as the user fills my form, I get the form filled from here. And after filling this password, we click on submit. So as the user fills the form, it brings you to this function inside this controller. These things were going on according to the flow. We have to put a validator here, which validates that no one can go ahead without passing this particular condition. So to implement this here, we will write request arrow operator validate, and inside it we will pass an array, and it will be an associative array. Now what you have to do in this array is to keep a good day. First of all, here each one should be unique like its name, and we have to write here name, and here we are applying validation on arrow operator and name. Name is required, then we have to use attribute named name. You can also say such attribute or value. This Laravel has given you predefined, and you will come to know about it. Go to resources, then language. After that gives English language. In language, Laravel gives you a lot of validation by doing validations in it. Laravel gives you. So you can see that a lot of validation has been done here, and out of this I am applying the required validation. Will show an error to the user. If this field is empty, then no user can escape from it. It is not that anyone has left the required field like name, email, password is necessary. If you try to go ahead without filling, then it is not possible. So I put the request on the email, and you have to use this symbol, and then you have to use the email attribute here. So now let's see what the email attribute does. Come here and search. Then the attribute named email will give you such a message. I put a request on the box containing the password. The user will also have to enter the password. If he does not fill it, then he will not be able to reach the next step. Then comes the confirm password. All these things are mandatory. The user will have to fill all these things. And now you have to hit simply form from the browser. So I refresh again, and I left everything empty and submitted. Then see, it is coming back to this page while it should have printed at least empty then. If it had not. If I comment on validation, then now I click on submit, then it is getting printed at least empty. But if validator is installed, then no user will be able to bypass it, means it is impossible to go ahead. So we have restricted the user from going forward without filling the fields. But how can the user understand why this is happening and why the form is not being submitted further? So for that, as soon as your validator runs and when you come back to this view page, Laravel gives you some errors inside the superglobal variable named error. Laravel has done a lot of things. Laravel is already prepared for each type of battle, or whether to set up validation or to set up a session. So you just have to come here and print the array. So I write here for raw PHP, and I put a pre-tag on top here, pre-tag open and close. I am putting this pre-tag because the array I am going to see you looks a bit formatted. And then inside it we will write print underscore error and a superglobal variable named $errors, which Laravel gives you. If you execute all function, then we want to see all the errors from inside the errors. So you are seeing that the array empty is coming. I will click on submit from here, then it will fill the array and give it, which means that the array with errors has been filled and given, and all these things are written in it, that the name is required, a meal is required, password is required. It represents your key as a string. Then started filling the data from here. I wrote the name. On the email I just typed the name and password and clicked on submit. So now the client side validation is stopping you that the client email is required here. You cannot enter anything here other than email. Inspected, and you just removed type equals email from here, so now client side validation can't do anything now. If I click back on submit, it will go there. Required validation is completed, but email validation is not fulfilled, and no one can bypass it because it is on server end and not on client end. So here it is written email is required and must be the type of email. So now we will not show the user by making such an array. So to be visible to the user, we have to use the directive named @error, and now after every input we will create a span tag here, and inside this span tag we have to create a class text danger. Now we will go inside the span first, and you will write @error and @error. You have to write the name of that. If there is an error of name fake, then this block is to be executed, and if there is an error, then we have to use a variable named message. After that, it error will automatically understand which message is to be printed here. You have to paste the same thing below all the other fields, but everyone's error type is different, like its name is email, password is this name. He is playing a very important role, and now he refreshes by coming to the browser. So now I clicked on submit. Now see, everything is written below. Earlier it was written above. Now we fill the data in the email. I have written the name again in the email. Our client-side validation of the email will stop again. Then we will bypass it. Then we went to inspect. From here we removed the client-side validation and click on submit. Another validation went on that the email must be a valid email address. But the user had filled the name, he will have to enter it again. But till the password is sensitive data, we cannot show it again. But at least name should be displayed. Then for that thing you have to go to that input. Write value here inside the name equals, and here you have to echo the name from the function named old. Whenever you create an error, that means whenever Laravel throws an error to you, it throws all the old data together, and we do not keep the password because we want the user to enter his password again and submit the form again. Enter name, email, and password. Submit, then see that our data is displayed here. So whatever the logic of this form submission was, it has run when you have bypassed all the fields. That means when you were able to serve the whole form with validation, then the form is submitted. So you can see a lot of validations of this type. If you want the date, you can put the confirmed. Then if you want that the password is confirmed only, then the form is submitted. Then we will put the confirmed here, but here a change, you will have to change the name of the key of the form. Instead you will have to write the password confirmation, and confirmed means that whenever the password comes, confirm whether the password and the confirmed password are the same or not, and if it is not there, then we are going to throw an error as again. So now let's check it again and see that it is telling that the password and the confirmed password are not matching. Then it is a very simple concept. Laravel has made you everything. You just have to know how to use its code. Your job will be much easier. So now if I make a field of my own and get the password confirmed instead of the password confirmation, now will Laravel be able to check? For that you have to use the same attribute here and write the same password, then you have to remove the confirmation and both should be same. Confirmation is always for password _ confirmation. If you don't see it, then you have to put same password, then it matches with password, then gain we check and fill your details 123 and 321. See this password is not matching, then that will throw you an error. The error of everything is that Laravel has made it. If you want to see more errors, then go to validation.php and have a look. And at the same time, if you want, you can also create your own custom errors. Below here you can also create custom error. Or if you want to do some changes in these errors, then you can do it. Things are customizable and easy. You just have to understand the method of implementation. So I think you must have understood the topic of form submissions. And guys, now we are going to talk about components. The components that are inside Laravel provide you a very good feature, with the help of which you can centralize the code and can reuse it. Laravel gives you the facility to create components. Just like we create functions, we create classes. So in components you have to keep a design and reuse that code or design again and again. To make this, you have to come to the project and write PHP artisan make component. After that, write a name of the component. Then we keep its name, input and enter. Then see that our component has become successful here. Now notice that the component is created. Then where the files are created, first of all the file is created inside the app and the folder with the component inside the view and the input. There is a file named PHP, this class-based file with the component which we have just created. Also inside resources there is a folder named view, and inside it there is a component folder and also a file in it input.php. So a separate file named myInput is created which is inside the app. All the files in the app are class-based, so this is class-based file. There is a class in it, there is a function, there is a constructor, there is a function called render. What is the input after that? Input. Blade.php. This is a blade file. So if you have watched the whole video from the day, then you will know that we are using forms here. So inside these forms we are using some inputs. We have to make the inputs inside these forms again and again, so I will centralize it. I will delete the rest of the inputs and I keep this form group in its entirety. I will copy from here and paste it in input. Blade.php. Now I am going to make all the things with the help of such key and it is going to be centralized. Here I will comment with errors also for some time and we remove this value. Now there should be a label. There should be a type and in the name we want a unique name. Then after going to the input we remove this form for now and let's see that, and now let's see how that component will be rendered. Then to render the component you have to create a tag which will be a user-defined tag. Its name will be X, and then the name of the component, and note that the name of the component should always be unique and it will be a self-closing tag. The X dash represents the component and the name of that component, i.e. it represents the input. And now I serve my project on terminal with PHP artisan serve, and here my local server is open and enter /register. Then you can see the name is coming here. This name is coming from our component because here I have not created any such field. Sir, I have written X input. Now in this way I will make 4, then you will see 4, but this 4 which is not of my use right now because it is rendering static data. We need dynamic data, so to render it we have to pass arguments from here. First of all, I keep the arguments inside which what should be my type. Then here the text type should be. What should be the name? You can put anything in the name, we will keep the name only. You can also give a label and write any message inside it. Now these things will be used, meaning inside this component of ours. You will see the label here, then you have to mention the type and the type equals text, or you have to mention the name. So see, I have passed these things from here, but from here to that component. That means from where the calling is taking place, how will it reach that component? To reach him, we have a class named input extended company. You have to come here and first of all write public here and make some variables. These variables will be member variables of this class. This class can access it because it is public, and the first variable is $type. In the same way I create 2 more variables. Second variable is $label and third variable name is $name. The things that you have kept in the Blade file. You have to keep these 3 variables in the input.php file and in the constructor while matching the same things. Now we have picked up all 3 things, so now we have to invoke their value in this class. If you have studied object-oriented programming, then you would know that the first function of a class is will assign inside the type variable of this class and assign $name to the variable named name, and it becomes type, label, name, all 3 things. You have to initialize and leave the rest of the renderer's job automatically to reach that page automatically. From here all 3 will get up and come to this Blade file. Then we will get all 3 things done and refreshed. Then an error is coming here because you are ahead in the form Blade file. The components that they did not pass, type, name and label, which is required, then we will fill it here. Then second will be email. Third will be password, and fourth will also be password because we have entered confirm password and go to register controller because same as managing and it has password_confer this name. Then you have to keep this thing in mind. If you keep any name, then you have to keep the same. Simply see what is happening. Understand the flow. We are calling the component. We have told the component that it is to be rendered here. Then we have asked the component to take 3 variables named type, name and label in the base file of the component, but then if they cannot go themselves, then there is a class ready to help them, which is their own class. What does she hold? 3 variables which are her member variables. We initialize them from here, so as soon as we initialize them, she directly passes them here. So now let's refresh and see if it is doing our right thing. Then see that the whole show is done here. All things are being managed from here. If even a small change has to be made, then everything will be managed from here. I put bootstrap class here and give border success number. Then see it will be implemented on the whole border, and if I take danger then you will see red color border here. So our simple concept is to write reusable code. If you want to pass out other things then you can do it from here, and if you keep any variable, then I started PHP here. I took a variable named demo and in demo I gave value 1, and if I have any from here. If you want to turn on the variable pass, then its method is slightly different. You have to make this attribute by colon the name of that attribute demo and then $demo. You have to turn it on here so that it knows that the variable has to be taken, and here we have to handle some other things, like here we have to create a variable named demo. And the initial value of demo is 0. If someone invokes or someone enters its value, then it's okay, otherwise its default value will be 0, and here we assign it to demo. And here I see the demo printed out. And from here I am sending a variable demo whose value is 1 and refreshed here in the browser, then C1 as all other zeros, but to send the variable only colon has to be used. If the string is to be sent, then the colon is not needed. It will go away like this. The colon will take the demo and then the variable will not be taken, and in which we did not send as in the file containing the form. Then it took the default equals 0. You see, can it come all in 0? So you can handle all things from here, all is up to you. You just have to understand how to work, because in Laravel you have been given all the ready-made things. So I think you must have understood this concept very well. So now we are going to talk about database configuration inside Laravel. It is very easy, few steps which you have to follow, and your Laravel application gets attached to your Laravel. So let's see how to do it. So I have kept it open here on the project, and we do a survey on the browser. And at the same time we write on browser localhost phpMyAdmin, because we are going to use MySQL database here of phpMyAdmin. So as soon as this phpMyAdmin is loaded, we have to first create a database inside it. This is your first step, so here you will click on New and name the database with the same name, which is my project name BMN Infotech, and click on Create. After that you have to go to the project, and inside the env file, this is the environment file of your project. So here DB connection is written already, DB host is also written here, project name is also created by Laravel itself, because Laravel knows that it is running on local now. It is Laravel, you already get a lot of features in it, because you do not get these things in Laravel, which was 5, 6, because we had to configure it ourselves, and there are many things already configured in it. BMN Infotech root password, there is no need to do any configuration, but if you are working on an old project, then you will have to do configuration. Like you have to take the name of the DB and you are working offline in the username. Then the username of the DB is always root and the password is always blank. So these few things that Laravel will make you bunny, and now we have to run the first migration of Laravel. Migton is a type of feature from Laravel, with the help of which you can manipulate tables without going to the database. You can create tables in the database, add columns, delete, or do all the work using a single PHP file for a single table. So here you go inside the database, and here you will find the folder of migration. So you will see that 3 tables are already made here: users tables, passwords, and failed jobs. And if you open it, then all the PHP code is written here. So by migrating, Laravel has created a class and all the functions are available inside it, like id, string, etc. We have to run migration first so that Laravel can set up its project, and if you are setting it up for the first time, so you have to go into terminal and type php artisan config cache. The cache that is created stores the cache to get Laravel to load it dynamically. So we reconfigured it because it clears the cache first and then reconfigures it with this artisan command. After that all these things will be configured, and you have to simply write here php artisan migrate. It will run its first migration and see the migration table create successfully. So I had created a database in front of you. There was nothing in it. But if you check the database now, you will find some files here. A table of migrations will appear like this, which is handled by Laravel. Then it should know which migrations have been run so far. These 3 migration runs were done in batch 1, in which the users table, because Laravel knows that users will be sure in your tables. So if there is a user, then their password can also be reset, and some failed jobs are also necessary to maintain them. Means sometimes we hit the URL, and if something fails on it or anything related to database spreads, then it will be stored inside failed jobs. So Laravel has given you 3 tables, If you want to run any other table, then you have to create your new migration and run the table, and next we will understand migration in full way. How to create a migration file. How to create a table. How to delete a table. Update it. All these new things we will go ahead. So now we will see how tables are created with the help of migrations in Laravel. So Laravel gives us a lot of cool features. Migration is also one of them, so now we had discussed something about migration earlier. So let's see how the table command is hit with the help of migration. So we have to write php artisan command to create table php artisan make migration create underscore table underscore name underscore table. The syntax of this is fixed, just you can change the table name whatever it is. So with this Laravel will make you a file. So here I run migration on php artisan make migration in create underscore customers underscore table. Customers because we are creating table of customers, and we enter here and it will create a file. What this file is a PHP file, which is a class-based file. So now we look inside the folder containing the database migrations, and Laravel already gives some migrations by default, and this is the migration of our customer table. See and here customers is written. Now for that they have created class create customers table and this schema with the same name create in customers. Now this is it. May I explain this a little bit too? So there is already a class named schema, and this class has a lot of functions which are predefined, with the help of which you are going to make a table. So the first function of schema is create, and in this we are going to execute a function in which we are going to decide the blueprint of a table. So the default things in blueprint are two already given to you, because Laravel understands that it is necessary to give a primary inside every table. So it provides you the attribute named id. So if we go to the users table, there is an id here as well. Similarly, the table with customers also has an id. If I want to put my own name like customer underscore id, then it is very simple. You have to pass this customer name argument inside id and underscore id. So by default the name of this field was id, but we made it customer underscore id. So Laravel gives you this complete customization. You can customize all the things according to your own accord. But you have to use the function with id so that what is a primary key can be made. Then for two more fields Laravel gives you function named timestamps, and Laravel creates two fields, one is created underscore at and one is updated underscore at. It means when this particular record was created and when was it updated. So all these things too Laravel manages a lot, so that tracking can be easy. So here are the two fields that Laravel is giving you by default. Now talking about customers, customers can have many different fields. For example, the customer can have a name. So name is in string, and string name is a function of Laravel, and you have to write name in it, then it will be customer name, and if you want customer name not greater than 50 to 60 digit, then comma separated you wrote 60. After that there will be an email address of the customer. So the email address is also there in the string. We wrote the string here and we wrote another email, and you want the email to not exceed 100 characters, then you wrote 100. Then you will write the table here and apply arrow operator. Then what else can happen to the customer? So suppose we want to store the gender of the customer. So in gender we will keep the decider that there are three things, only those come. So for that we will use this function named enum. Then in the enum we will tell the name of that field. After that we will pass an array comma spattered. And in that array we will put three things, first m then f and o. Now with this enum will force you that whenever there is data entry, it will force that nothing will come except m, f and o. Means a type of restriction has been imposed. Now its address can also be, then the address can also be big, so we use this attribute named text. If you want to keep the date of birth, then you will use the function named date here. And here write the dose date of birth. In the details of the customer, see when the customer was created or when he was logged in. So whenever the customer is created it and updated it will run. And now it may even have a password. So here we write the password. In the string I am keeping the password and I will not give any limit in the password, and when I do not give any limit then it will automatically take the limit of 255 characters. So these are some small functions that you have to remember. So in the documentation that Laravel provides you, it has been told completely about these things. You simply have to go to Laravel, means to go to laravel.com. And here you have to write migration, and on migration as you would press enter. So it will load you a page and you have to go to the bottom of it. Here are all the things that I just told you. So here you have to come up a bit and see that these are all the fields that Laravel provides you. Like we just used id, used text, used string, used date. So other things can happen in this way if we want to tell whether the user is active or not. So we'll take Boolean here. Boolean has true and false and cannot be anything else. Here you will take the status of that user. So it will give you the status of that user. Now look here and understand more things, like you can see the float here, you can see the decimal. Suppose your user buys something on your website. So if this is your customer, if he buys something, then in that case he will get some loyalty points. So those points will always be waiting. Now we have kept the names of the fields. Suppose we have to keep some default, like here status should always be 1 and you have to put arrow operator here and write 1 in default. And if you want to keep something in the default in points, then default 0 means initially any user's points will be 0. Now no user wants to enter date of birth. Or if you do not want to mention your gender here, then you can keep it nullable. So you have to use a function named nullable. Laravel provides you all these features as a function. You can see that Laravel has given you many features and many functions. Just like you have to pick someone's MAC address, keep someone's timestamp, keep time int somewhere, keep unsigned big integer, you have to keep UID. For all you have been given here in the documentation that how to implement. Now you can see some more modifiers here. These modifiers come in handy when we are modifying the table. Because we do not need ourselves, we are starting now. Right now we are creating tables. So now this is the first step to create the table. Now let's talk about how to access the table that I have created in the database. And if I show you the database, here is my database. Which currently has 4 tables because Laravel B defaults to 3. Now look here, Laravel creates a table named migrations to track how many migrations have happened so far. Like there have been 3 migrations here. And now we have to migrate this table to the database. And you have to open terminal. And simply write here PHP artisan migrate. And as soon as you type this and enter, it will migrate your tables, meaning the tables will be created in the database. Now many times developers create some errors here and remain confused for a long time as to how this error will be resolved. So let me explain that thing to you. So we understand the next step so that we learn to roll back the table. Rollback means to call back the last migration that happened. So I come to the database once and refer. You will see a table add here. This table named customers has come and all the fields have also come in this table. So if you go to the structure here, its data types will also be automatically defined here because our functions have defined its data types automatically. Now I want to delete this table back, then for that I will do PHP artisan migration. Roll back and enter, and now the table which is there has been rolled back. And if you refer again, you will get the table removed from here. And now I create that error and show you how it is detected. Like I removed a inside date and I migrated PHP artisan. So see, it is showing you the error here. And now reading this error, understand that there is an error written here in the method. Method blueprint. DTE does not exist. Meaning it should be understood that here is the blueprint. We have created an object of blueprint. So from the method we are trying to access the function named date, but here it is written wrong. So that thing is giving this error. So you have to read it and see what type of error is there and what is the error. Most of the error is in functions or here in further modifiers. Now I have resolved the error and I migrate PHP artisan, then my tables in database will be migrated. And if I refer back to the database, then the tables with customers will come here. So this is the way to migrate the tables in the database. So sometimes we create a table and create another table in its relation. Suppose there is a table of customers, and in relation to that we have created a table with a package, which package has been installed by that user. Like we take a membership of Amazon Prime, then it is a package from them that we have bought. So if there is a relation of two tables, then we create a relation of those two tables. So while creating a relation, sometimes it happens that because of running migration, that relation is not known to be created. So we run the migration completely fresh, so that the whole migration is done as a whole and all the tables are in relation with each other. So this was an example. There may be many other reasons for referring migrations. So very simple, you have to write PHP artisan migrate and refer. Refreshing it will delete all the tables from the database and then recreate all the tables. When you go to the table with migrations, you will see all the tables in the first return because he deleted all the tables together and created again. So this is the way to refresh the migration so that all the tables are removed and fresh migration goes back. Now many times there are requirements that we have to add some new column to the table. So let's understand how to add a new column. So you have to write PHP artisan make migration, and here you have to write add underscore columns, so you have to remember this syntax fixed, then two underscore customers underscore tables because you have to put it in the tables with customers. And as soon as you press enter it will create a new migration. And the name of the table has already been written. So here understand that this class is inheriting the class with migration, and there are two functions up and down here. The sub is working to create the table, and if the table already exists then down is working to delete it and then update it. Same things you will see here, but there is a slight difference because here the add column is written, but the create column was written. Because the schema that came here came in a different way and some different code is written in the add column. Because it will work to delete the column. If you have to delete the columns next, they will be deleted from here. And now we are going to add the column. So one thing I remember is that user should add both city and state, so I want to store that column as a string. So I made the string and took the country here, and I took the state here too. So the country and state should be near the address. So we'll put the modifier here. First of all, we will put the modifier that will be nullable, means country and state can also be null. Then here we will put the after address. We are telling migration that these two fields have to be created and the name of any country cannot be more than 50 characters. So we have to take care of these things so that we do not make the resource unnecessary. And this after address means that this column should come after the address field. And it has to be migrated to PHP artisan. You do not have to refer to it, and as soon as you enter and refer to the database, then two fields will come here in the name of country and state. Because migration has got them stored on it. So this method was to add the columns of the table. In the same way, as we go ahead we will need more tables in CRUD operation. Then we will make more tables and see and understand more things. And now we are going to talk about how the model is implemented inside Laravel. Because Laravel model, view, and controller works on this architecture. We have talked about the controller earlier and have also seen about the view, and now it comes to the model. You can watch complete videos so that you can get a good learning on Laravel. So let's see what things we will understand in the models. First we will see what is model, then how model is created in Laravel and how to connect model with database. Model is a file of PHP. This file is class-based, meaning that a class would have been created and some functions would have been created in that class. Now it provides Laravel commands for the file it is in. Let's see about that. Now we have some other things for Laravel model. But the model we have in Laravel is called ORM, which means Object Relational Mapper. This allows you to create a lot of functions, like taking the smallest thing like insert query, update query, delete query to nested joins. Joins also require a lot of time nesting, like put a join from one table to another table and then from second to third table. So to do all this work also Laravel provides you functions. These functions also ease your hard work as you had to write huge queries. And when we work on the model of each table becomes different. Model is of tables and tables as of database. Actually, the model may represent the database, but it does the work for the tables. So we have to model each table. So let's see how the model will be made. Then PHP Artisan provides you a command, and this command is PHP Artisan make model then model name. So let's see by implementing it. So we first called a customer, the table was made. Now I am going to make a model of his name. So here I will write PHP Artisan make model and whatever is the name of the table. You have to name the model. So here I put the name customer because just now I had also created a table named customer. And now you have to keep in mind that the first character of this name will be in capital because it is going to be a class. And as soon as you enter the model created successfully and inside the models and models inside the app, you will see a file named customer.php. This file will come here, whose file is of customer model. So now we have to go to the third step and we have to relate this table with it there. This is our customers table which we migrated to customers table earlier. So see, this is a table with customers. We have to map this with our model. So customers take whatever name it is. And now we come to the model and here we will put private and dollar table. Then we are going to mention the name of the table. So we have private dollar table. These are some things which are fixed. You have to take care because this is what you have to write. Private table and then table name. Then write private and dollar primary key. This we are creating class member variables. Private and primary key. So the primary key is our customer underscore id. So Laravel asks you to do two things whenever you want to access this model. So what should be the primary key and what is the name of the table so that he knows from which table the data is to be brought from which primary key, because update runs on the primary key and delete also runs on the primary key. So here you have written two things. So see, I put some data inside this table. I give dummy data like this. So see, I entered some dummy data and clicked on go. So it will create the data and give it to me. This is what I have run insert query so far from phpMyAdmin. Now we go to any one root. I create a root in web.php. Well, we will understand it well in the controller. For now let's understand it in the root. And in the coming videos we will take the help of the controller. And I will gate in the root that as soon as I get the customer, we have to execute a function. We will call that model while executing the function. So we will import the model. Here we will write use app, models, customer. So you are simply $customers here. So why are you doing $customers? You are picking up the data of all the customers. This is the method of a select query. Just I am showing you the run and will understand it better in the coming videos. Here you have to write the customer : all. So all the functions of the customer are executed. So now let me print _r to you. Echo pre and print _r. So I'm doing print _r because it gives your model all its data in the form of object. So print _r is needed to print the object. And now we do project survey on terminal PHP Artisan serve. So come to the browser and here I put the / in the customer, and as soon as you enter, there is something wrong here showing that the table must be protected. So it means we have made a small mistake somewhere. Because we have written here private whereas here we had to come protected. So now it has been protected and referred. So see, all this data has come in front of you. This is a complete model. If you look inside it, then the attributes have come, and what is the value of those attributes? This is how this whole show is happening. And now how they are used, how they are represented, we will understand in the upcoming video. Just now to show you an array format, I can put it here to array. It is a function named to array. So as soon as you call it, it will format it into an array and give it. So see, it was very simple. There was no need to run the select query, there was no need to execute it. There was no need to run by fetching its data. What core PHP used to do is nothing to do. We will do the same thing further in the controllers because now we did not need to make controllers because now we have understood only in the root. But we are going to do the same thing further in the controllers and we are going to send data through the controllers view. Model will fetch data to controller and controller will send data to view and all this work will be done on MVC. Now let's take a look at the next one. So while creating the model, we have to create its migration as well. For example, we write PHP artisan make model and create a model named products, and if I write migration in it, then Laravel will automatically create its migration file as well. First, see the model has been created here and its migration has also been made here. See migrations inside the database and there is a migration file here, so you can hit both commands from the same line. Because it is a little bit time saving. Because those who are senior developers focus more on these things. If you are going to a company, then if you are giving a test, then if you hit such commands, then it also seems a bit impressive. So you keep following the whole series continuously. So I hope guys, you must have understood all these concepts very well. If you are new to the channel then like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell in the comment box if you face any kind of problem. See you guys, stay connected with us in the next video. And do what you love.